welcome back to the Graceful Tangle YouTube channel. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about my brand new pattern release, the Riverside Throw. So it's going to be pretty hard to show on camera, but I'm going to be inserting some pictures at the end of this video for you to see. And of course the thumbnail will feature this project as well. But this is a super special throw and I'm so in love with the finished object. So I wanted to spend some time today talking about some of the techniques that are used in this pattern, a few of the little interesting construction things that I have included, and I wanted to provide a little bit of a visual aid for you guys to refer to. So first off, the most interesting thing about this construction that I wanted to mention from the get-go is something that is laid out in the pattern notes section of the pattern itself, but I wanted to talk briefly about it here. So this blanket is constructed going side to side. So what that means is you chain, so your foundation chain is the length of your blanket. Usually it would be the width, and you would crochet vertically to, get the length that you want. But in this case, you chain the length and you work out, and that width that you work is going to be the finished width of your blanket. So what I mean by that is, let me just find the place that I started. So I started over here on this side of the blanket. This side right here is my initial foundation chain, and you can see that it is pretty long. It measures about 40 by 50 inches when complete. So this measures approximately 50 inches. And then I worked in rows just like normal for this many rows, and that is the width of my blanket. So you can kind of see, if I were to zoom in right here, that you can see the pattern is going horizontally, like this, but when you turn it, it's vertical, if that makes any sense. So I wanted to briefly mention that. So that's how the majority of the blanket is worked. However, you do add a finishing border at the end to result in a more just clean and neat look. And that is worked in the round. So it's 2 rounds, and you work that after you complete the body of the blanket, which is this entire middle section here. So I wanted to mention that just at the beginning of the video, because I know that it could be the most confusing thing for some people, but it is also not confusing at all. It is laid out in the pattern exactly what to do and how to customize the size of your blanket. So don't be scared, and of course I'm here to answer any and all questions if you have them. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about this blanket is the yarn that I used. So I am so grateful to have had yarn support from Cascade Yarns for this design, and I used their Cascade 220 Merino. So this is the colorway that I used. It is so beautiful. I used about 9 skeins of it, and I did put the yardage calculations in the pattern as well, and you can substitute any worsted weight yarn that you would like using those calculations. Some of my other favorites from other companies, let's see, I really love Knit Picks Brava, Wool of the Andes, Swish. Those would all be great options for this project. They each vary a little bit in cost, so acrylic would be the cheapest. I'm not sure which is more expensive, Swish or Wool of the Andes, but I think I would assume Swish. I could be completely wrong. But anyway, so those are both really good options for a more, like for Lion Brand, for example. Let's see, Vanna's Choice would be a good option. There's so many different worsted weight yarns out there, and any of them will work for this project. I did include a specific gauge in the pattern, but please note that it is not necessary for you to achieve a specific gauge for this project. I just recommend checking it if you are limited on yarn. So like, for example, if you were to use this specific yarn and you only purchase 9 skeins, I would suggest that you check your gauge to make sure you're going to have enough yarn, to make sure your gauge matches so that you have enough yarn to complete your blanket, because it would be awful if you got almost done with it and needed 2 more skeins or something to complete it. Of course, there's a little bit of leeway in that yardage number, but not too much. So I would just suggest being aware of it. So that is the yarn that I used. Absolutely loved using it for this pattern. It just turned out so beautiful. It has excellent stitch definition. I can tell by the feel that it's going to last a really long time. And it is wool, but at the same time it is super breathable. So I really designed this blanket with summer in mind. You know, it's a blanket that it'll keep you warm, you know, if you were to use it during the winter months, but it also won't cause you to overheat in the summer. So I live in the South, and the air conditioning can get a little bit chilly in some places. So having a blanket like this is just super handy and nice. And of course, it is a great excuse to use those amazing handmade items year round, which I think we can all agree that we need some more excuses for that. So there's a couple things that I wanted to mention. Now, lastly, there are photo graphics throughout the pattern to aid you in just a couple of the little tricky parts. Nothing about this pattern is difficult in my opinion. I designed it for the kind of advanced beginner to intermediate crocheter in mind. And I want anybody and everybody to be able to make this blanket. So like I mentioned earlier, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. All of my contact information is down below, but you can of course send me a direct email through the pattern itself, or you can comment down below this video. So please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or need help or insight, anything like that. I am here for you anytime. So I am super, super excited about this new design, the Riverside Throw. I am so grateful that it is finally out to you guys. It has been a long time coming. You can find the pattern for sale for the PDF version on Ravelry and Etsy. You can also find the free version on my blog, thegracefultangle.com, and I will link that down below, as well as all of the other ways to purchase this pattern as well. It all depends on what you like working from. So I hope you're excited about this pattern. I know I am, and I just can't wait to see all of your beautiful blankets. Thank you so much for watching. Again, don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions, and I will chat with you all next time. Bye!